Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city, and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Thank you. Yeah, fantastic talks, and I'm very happy that I've been put in the future of advertising. So yeah, my name is Ladi. I work for Monks, used to be called Media Monks. But yeah, I'll be talking about Amazon today. But before we get into that, I want you to start asking some questions to yourself, especially for those who are running campaigns or those who are managing other people who run campaigns. Is your performance plateauing? Is your CPC creeping up slowly? Is your CPA increasing? Why? Why are those things happening? And Sophie had given us a big hint of why some of that might be happening, but there's a bigger picture of why that might be happening. And one thing I want to emphasize is it's not if your performance has plateaued, it's when your performance will plateau. This is a quote by Catherine Kehoe. She is the Chief Customer Officer for Nationwide, and she made this quote as a judge to the IPA Marketing and Advertising Effectiveness Award for 2024. So you can read the quote, but the one thing I want to emphasize is outsized commercial returns. It's not about impressions, it's not about clicks, it's not about traffic. Are you delivering outsized? It's the key word, commercial returns. And in relation to that is also research done by John Bradshaw. And I know a lot of the talk has been about PPC. This is mainly aimed around programmatic. However, he's claiming that a lot of the second and third party data we use for targeting and measurement is just nonsense. It's useless. It's worse than no targeting. He's claiming about 20% accuracy. You shouldn't even be using it. And this has led me to conclude that we're currently going through an effectiveness crisis. Our ads are not delivering what they should be or what they used to. A big symptom of that is an over-reliance on performance. We're all focused on capturing the demand. We're all focused on that 3 to 5% of people who are in market. And no matter how well your strategies are, if that pool continues to shrink and the cost continues to go up, your effectiveness can only go one way. And one of the things I struggle with, so I come from an agency background, is when the client scrutiny starts to creep up. It goes from bi-weekly meetings to weekly meetings to emails every other day asking the same question. So when is the ROAS going to go up? One of the symptoms of that, ThinkBox, they did some fantastic research on why we might be having this effectiveness crisis, is an over-investment into social. I'm not here to beat up social, but there's a reason why people feel very comfortable spending more and more on social, even if it might not be delivering that outsized commercial return. Signal. Very few platforms give the quality of signal social does. And the reason for that is they have logged in users. They're not using second or third party data, it's first party logged in behavior. So both the targeting and measurement, fantastic. You don't need to do a lot more out of that. But actually, what about the quality of the impression you're delivering? Are people actually watching those videos or are just scrolling past? I love TikTok, but you have half a second to convince me to watch your ad. So on the other side is the linear TV in terms of the quality of the impression. Okay, so people can spend 15 to 30 second ads. Sometimes you have 60-second ads, but who's really watching your ad for 60 seconds? You also have the audio as well. So even if people leave the room, as long as the TV is on, they can still hear your campaign. And then finally, the production quality. Generally for TV ads tend to be quite good. But then on the flip side, the signal you get from linear TV is absolute nonsense. At best, you have to do a panel survey. So asking people, when you saw that campaign, how did it make you feel? Okay, so there's a middle point, or also you have OLV in there, but there's a middle point where you get high quality signal and high quality impression. And the answer is connected television, CTV. So it's basically your traditional TV connected to the internet to get you those high quality signals. Generally, but not all the time, they tend to use third-party performance data. So one of the most interesting relationships I've seen is between Tesco and ITV. So right now, Tesco is sharing club card data to help ITV campaigns target better and also measure the impact of those campaigns. Of course, you then start to get competing methodology. So you're running campaigns in one platform, you're getting data from another platform. You start to do all sorts of funny things in terms of matching that data up together. Amazon. Amazon is going a step further. They're not just saying it's the quality of the impression. They're also saying the environment that impression is being delivered is just as important. That old age contextual targeting, contextual conversations. So if the quality of the TV show they're watching is high, that would positively impact the impression you're serving. And then, of course, people are picking these TV shows. So the word we use, they're leaned in, so they're selecting. It's not like linear TV where they're just stumbling upon the show. They've decided to watch this particular thing, so they're invested in it. So my friend Alex Rhodes, he's also from Amazon. He'll be very happy to correct me. So here, it's actually 68 Emmy Awards. I've not updated my slides, so please forgive me. Amazon Prime Video is the star of the show of the Amazon Video tool set. There's lots of other things you can get from Amazon, but the main platform for engagement is their Prime Video offering. Like I said, premium TV. But one of the things that then makes Amazon slightly different from the other CTV providers is that all of this is undergirded by first-party commerce data. So we know what you're watching because you're logged in. We know when you're watching it, but we also know what you're buying. That's really important because at the end of the day, we're here to make money either for our own brand or for our clients. Everything I've said up to now is not novel. Lots of people have said that already. This, I think, is quite exciting. Amazon is slowly creating a streaming marketplace. So Roku and Samsung and LG, you can access different streaming platforms through them, but you have to create unique accounts for every streaming subscription. Through Amazon Prime, you can literally buy subscription without creating a new account. And then when we start talking about churn, so for example, a person might buy Paramount Plus this week, watch a few shows, and then next month cancel it, buy Discovery Plus. Whilst you're running your account, you don't need to worry about all of that. You can reach all the customers across multiple streaming platforms. Of course, Netflix is never going to come here, but at least you're getting majority of other streaming platforms in there, and you have Crunchyroll as well. Any anime nerds in here? Nice, nice, nice. I'm among my people. So, like I said, Amazon has multiple other video opportunities. So in terms of scale, the shopping environment tends to be the biggest because it's their retail website. That's generally what they're known for. But think about it like a supermarket. The relevance of the ads in the supermarket generally has to be tied to products being sold in the supermarket. I have seen an ITV display ad on Amazon, but generally it's people who are selling on the platform who place ads there. So that's where you have sponsored ads and also programmatic display. The place where things get fun is programmatic video. That's where a lot of innovation is happening. Every other thing I've spoken about around CTV happens. And yeah, Prime Video and Twitch at the start of the show. I've spoken to a number of people today who knew Amazon owned Twitch. Okay, less than a quarter of the room. So that's another tool that you can buy through Amazon. And of course, like I mentioned, other streaming platforms like Discovery Plus, Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus. Why are they all Plus? So that's where you get more engagement, so people are interested in what they're watching, whereas in the shopping environment, they're in there to buy something and they're out. Yes, there might, a little bit of product discovery, but, it's about in and out. Whereas with programmatic video, they've selected the show they're watching. This is on a big TV screen, quality, quality, quality. And then on top of that, you then have live sport, slightly smaller audience, but this is your most engaged audience, because more often than not, you've picked a side, so you're rooting for a side to win. But where I'm particularly interested in is programmatic video. Generally, you start there. It doesn't matter whether you sell on or off Amazon, because at the end of the day, your ad is being shown on Prime Video. Once you've mastered that, you've exhausted that, you can start to consider live sports, or you can just skip all of that and go straight in. That's also fine. I have spoken about the how, I've spoken about the why and the what. Now the how. So there's lots of things in here, so I'm just going to pick only one or two. So in terms of setting up your campaigns, your programmatic video campaigns, for anyone who's familiar with line items, you can ask me later if you don't know, but what I would recommend is for line items, make sure you have a separate line item for CTV, separate line item for desktop, separate line item for mobile. Separate all your inventory out. Viewability. This is where me and Amazon disagree. So Amazon will recommend you don't have any viewability settings. I think that's mad. I would always recommend a minimum of 50%. If your impressions are not being seen by 50% of the people, what are we doing? Yes, they don't charge you for non-viewable impressions, but what about the carbon footprint? So literally just start at 50%. If you don't know what viewability is, give me a shout. I'm happy to explain it later. And then from an optimization perspective, one thing I want to focus on is Amazon Marketing Cloud. So think of yourself as a seasoned pilot. Okay, you can fly a plane with just your eyeballs. Look at the weather map prior. You generally get to your destination. With a compass, clear sky, from A to B should be fine. What Amazon Marketing Cloud is radar. It can tell you not just where you are, but where everybody else is in relation to you. It gives you that granular detail that you would not get from the standard programmatic console. So I'll give you an example where I audited an account where the client had a frequency of 3 over 30 days. So on average, each person saw their video impressions 3 times. That's great. That's fantastic. Nothing to change. But when we then delved deeper through Amazon Marketing Cloud, we noticed 85% of the reach saw the videos only once. 60% of the impressions were to people who saw the videos 10 plus times. So that is how you can get an average of 3. So you will not get that insight without accessing Amazon Marketing Cloud. So like I said, you can still run your campaigns without it, but you will be wasting a lot of money. From a measurement perspective, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but basically almost every form of measurement is available. One of the things I'm excited about is panel surveys. So depending on your spend, you generally get this for free. I think it was Simran that mentioned Google and Facebook tend to charge you a hefty amount. Amazon, free panel survey, you can get your brand lift. Best practices. Once is enough. You don't need to hit people 5, 6, 7 times. What I would recommend is use your target audience to decide who you want to speak to, and then make sure you speak to a minimum of 80% of them. It's not about targeting a frequency of 3, 2, or 1. No, what is the target audience? If your budget cannot hit 80% of their audience, then you either need to increase your budget or reduce the size of the audience you should be speaking to. After you've hit 80 to 90%, they can start to play it a second time, a third time for effectiveness. But generally, Les Binet recommends once is enough. It's not brand or performance. It's brand and performance. One of the things I like about this report is they don't even go further. That is a multiplier effect. It's not about just running performance campaigns, and it's not about just running brand campaigns. You have to do both together in sync. and not in terms of silos. They're doing their performance, we're doing brand. We don't care what anybody's doing. No, it needs to be joined up and synchronized. Similarly, it's not about one channel. It's not about putting all your eggs in the Amazon basket. This is quite crazy because they're recommending we use a minimum of 5 channels. Who has time for that? But the benefits speak for themselves. Okay, so at the top there, Kantar's research says you get over 200 multiplier effects, so 200 added benefit by using 5+ channels. This is at the brand level. Okay, this is an ROI. The next one below that is IPA and ARC. They're looking at UK-wide, the additional ROI you get by using 5 or more channels. And then below that is globally. So of course, it would change by category, it would change by season, it would change by country. But generally, there's a distinct measurable benefit by using multiple channels. So again, it's not just video, it's not just PPC, it's not just social. Finally, Monks. That's who I work for, by the way. I don't work for Amazon. So I have a quick case study here in terms of what we did for a client. So this study literally ended in Q2 2025, so not able to share more information or get permission to tell you what they are. But we basically ran streaming campaigns across multiple platforms for this client, and we had a target ROM of $1.30. And by the way, this is immediate sales. As we know, video ads tend to have a long-term effect as well. And we smashed it to 1.67, but one of the things we're really excited about to shout about is the returns on the Prime Video inventory. So we use both Disney, Paramount, and Discovery, and Prime was the leading inventory there. And we also use lots of other third-party tools as well, so you're not tied into using Amazon's measurement system. We've been partners with Amazon for over 13 years. So I'm coming to speak to you from the Amazon Ads Advanced Partner team. We're verified AdTech reseller. I'll come on to that later. We also have different teams within Monks who can help with Prime implementation and AWS. Out of all of this, we've helped invest over 200 million in the partnership. So I think that's slightly higher than your number. Yeah. So accessing this programmatic video is relatively limited. So what Amazon wants is a few verified resellers. That's the term they use, but we tend to see ourselves as activation partners. They want to consolidate the demand. They don't want 2, 3, 4 agencies asking them, why didn't my Prime Video work? So what they then do is go speak to Monks. When you're big enough, then maybe you can come back to us. So what we help you do is create an Amazon seat. So it's your seat, your data. From a self-service perspective, you can then run your own campaigns. Of course, we have onboarding trainings that we do at Monks. And then we also have something called data portability. So if at some point the relationship between you and Monks breaks down, you can take your data, take your seat to another agency. And eventually, when you're big enough, you can then go direct again with the same data. And then we can also work with other agencies. So if you're a brand and you're interested in exploring Amazon video options, we'll create the seat for you, and then your brand will run the campaigns for you. So everything I said is in addition to the other option of managed service. So again, the seat is still yours, the data is still yours, but what we then do differently is we run the campaigns for you, where you get full visibility of everything we're doing, but we then do the optimization and the reporting and so forth. And then finally, we have the scope base. So basically, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I can run my own campaigns, but I need help in this very specific place. So generally, right now, it's AMC. So a lot of people are quite comfortable running their own campaigns, especially if they've run DV360 before. But they need somebody to explain, what's this AMC thing? How does it work? So we can then set up training sessions, we can run the analysis for you. And then less frequently, we ask people asking us to help them build a dashboard. Again, it's a one-off thing, but then the relationship stays as self-service. And of course, you can move up and down, regardless of which way is comfortable for you. 3 things to remember: the demand for effectiveness will only increase, especially when you're looking at the socio-political economy. Globally right now, there'll be more scrutiny on what is my dollar doing. Amazon's video options does increase advertising effectiveness, so we're not all scrapping for that last mile of the consumer journey. And finally, it's not videos and, it's videos or. No, sorry, it's not videos or, it's videos and. Thank you.